Okay, so, like you did on your homework from last night, let's go to,
Hello, Internet.
Okay.
Welcome to this week's classroom.
can you see from there?
I can't.
Why don't you move something? Creating your desk.
Can I skip my desk off?
Okay, so, let's review a little bit what we did on Monday so we can move on and finish the rest of that packet. Okay?
Okay.
It's recording.
Like,
Like,
Hi.
Hello,
wow.
World Wide Web.
Okay, John, tell me what slope-intercept form is, please.
It's y equals mx plus b.
Y equals mx plus b. Brian, what does m stand for?
M stands for the slope.
M is the slope. Okay,
I don't use.
do you?
Yeah, it's the y.
It is the y-intercept. What are x and y? X and y are what? The coordinates of our point, right? X and y are the coordinates of our point. Yes. Okay, so what part of that homework was hard? Was it taking your points and your slope and then writing an equation from that? Okay, so, Joanne,
When it says substitute for like y and m,
yes.
like, would you just take the, okay, did I do it right? Do you remember?
Finish asking me your question.
It's like,
Because this is where people get confused. What two letters there do I need? If I say, write this equation in slope-intercept form, what two letters do you need to figure out?
Y.
M and B. Because in every slope-intercept form, we have what two letters? Y and X. We always have Y and X. M and B are what we need to find and then just plug them into the spaces, right? So we need to put M and B. So if we can figure out M and B, then we're good to go. We can write our equation. Yes? Okay. So if I give you, so Killian, let's try one. Give me 3 numbers. Positive, negative, doesn't matter. Don't make them huge.
3, -2, and 4.
3, -2, 8, and 4. Okay? So we're going to write the equation of a line that goes through the point 3, -2, and has a slope of 4. So how many of those letters do I have a value for? What is 3? What does 3 represent?
X.
That represents our X. Good. What does -2 represent?
Y.
Y. And what does 4 represent?
Slope.
M. It says M right in front of it, right? What's the only one we don't know?
B.
So if you are using slope-intercept form, we're going to plug in all of those values. Because remember, the thing with a formula that's nice is that you can figure all of them out but one, and you can solve for that one. Yeah? So Killian, plug in, we're going to plug in, instead of letters, we're going to plug in numbers for everything but B. Okay, so what's your Y value?
3. I mean 2, -2.
-2 equals, what's your M?
3.
What's your M?
Oh, 4.
4. And we're going to multiply that by our X value, so that's what? 3. And then we're going to add, what's the one letter we don't know? B. We don't have a value for that, right? We have,
Wait, where'd you get 4 from?
hang on.
That's what, that's the number.
We have 3 values. We have X and a Y and an M. We have the Y, the M, and the X. The only thing we don't have is B, right? So down here, we don't have a B yet. Do we need B to write our equation?
No.
Yeah, we need an M and a B, right? Those are the two things we need, okay? So now how do we solve for B?
I do the opposite.
Right hand, Brian.
So you multiply 4 and 30, which equals 12,
Good.
and then you subtract 12 on both sides, and that equals 14.
Equals what?
14.
What?
Negative 14.
Thank you. Okay, so now do you have a value for M?
Yes.
Yeah, we already knew what that was, right?
Yeah.
M equals 4, and what does our B equal? We just figured out.
Negative 14.
-14. Where do I plug in those two values?
Into the equation.
Back here in the equation. So our equation then is y equals 4x minus 14.
Oh,
That looks more simple.
Okay?
that's freaking easy.
You did? I love light bulb moments. They're awesome. Okay, now I want to do the same problem, but use point slope form. Okay, exactly the same points, exactly the same problem, the same point, the same slope. And we're going to see by if we use point slope form, if we end up with the same answer, which we should, right? It should be the same line. Vanessa.
I did this so wrong.
Okay,
Like, okay,
that's what I'm here for, honey.
I know, but I just, like, for the M, it was slope, so I put the, like, the two coordinates right there, the 3, -2.
Yeah.
I put the, in the slope form, I put the dash, you know what I mean? And then I put
Here's-
X on the
Okay,
outside.
so here's what a common mistake is, that people will say, well, the slope is 4, and then my y-coordinate is, -2, so my equation has to be y equals 4x minus 2. That's a really common mistake. But all y-intercepts have an x-coordinate of how much? 0. So it can't be 3, -2, okay? The coordinate of that is 0, -14. That's our y-intercept, right? All y-intercepts have an x-coordinate of 0. So it can't be 3, -2. Can't even be 3, -14. Our y-intercept is 0, -14. That's a really common mistake that people make. Okay, let's do the same problem now, but we're going to use point slope form. Does anybody by chance remember what point slope form is? I don't really remember. Madison, do you know it?
Are you talking about the one with the change in X over
No, that's slope formula. That's finding slope. John?
Isn't it, y equals x1?
Oh, no. Sabina?
it right here.
Is it this one?
Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1.
X minus x1. Perfect. Okay, that is point slope form.
Oh,
Okay? So you're doing the same thing. What are the two letters that you always need to end up with in your equation, a slope-intercept equation?
slope,
That always you see, y equals something times x plus something, right? So the y and the x don't change. The regular y and the regular x, they just stay there. They never change, okay? If we're using those same points, what was our point, Killian? We had a slope of 4 and 3, -2? Okay, 3, -2. So, all you need to know is where to plug those numbers in again. Mark, have you writing all this down? Okay. So, what this is here, the only difference between this being x and y is now we call this x1 and y1. Are those little subscript numbers kind of confusing?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all it is a label. That means the x and y coordinate of your first point. That's all it means. Okay, when people see x2, y2, they think it's x squared, y squared. It's not, it's a subscript, not a superscript. It's below the number, not above the number. Okay, so now we're gonna plug in, where you're plugging in these numbers here, 1, 2, 3, in for y1, m, and x1.
Hey,
Okay,
how'd you get 4?
With V.
That's fine.
that was a number
She
that,
doesn't know.
yeah, that's just the number that we picked. We just picked a random number, because you can do this with any point, any line, any slope, doesn't matter.
With V.
Yeah,
It said that you can make the V.
it said I should make my name, what change?
Word.
Oh, words with friends, yeah, I'm being kind of lazy with my words with friends. Okay,
These
So-
should be a track.
let's see, who wants to plug those numbers in for me? Marquez. Okay, let me move this up a little bit. So, what are the two letters that we're going to keep? They're underlined in green.
Y and X.
Y and X. Those are not going to move. Okay? So let me lay this out for you. Y minus, there's a blank there, equals a blank there, X minus, and a blank there. Okay? So here's going to go our Y1, here's going to go our M, and here's going to go our X1. If you are asked to write an equation in point slope form, there is no math you have to do. It is fill in the blank.
So in
Well, I asked you for slope-intercept form, right? Because that's what I taught you on Tuesday. Point-slope form, right. If you are asked point-slope form, you fill in the numbers and stop. Okay? If then I ask you to get the slope-intercept form, then there's 2 more steps beyond this step right here. And this is what we're practicing today, too, okay? So you're going to have this video to watch to refresh your memory, plus the worksheet we're going to do in a minute, okay? Okay, so, Marquez, what is my Y1 value?
-2.
-2. Okay, what is my M value? 4. And what's my X value? 3. So if I ask you point slope form, that's where you're going to stop. Now, does that look like slope intercept form at all?
Nope.
Nah, kind of funky, right? Madison?
Is it recording?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's recording.
It's recording on my screencaster on the computer.
Hello, people.
It records whatever's on my computer screen. So, there's a way you can do this, but when I try to do it, the uploading takes forever. That's why I stopped doing it. Because you know I'm not very patient with that kind of stuff.
I'm patient.
Okay, so now can we simplify, oh, Andreas, go ahead.
Doesn't 2 negatives make a positive?
It does. So here's your point slope form, okay, right there. And I want you to kind of write next to it what's going on here. So this is point slope form. Point slope form. Yeah. Just so you know, the answer to that question in my class always is yes. Okay. Jaden, pick up your pencil. There you go. Okay, there's 2 steps beyond this. What if we see parentheses in an equation? What do we have to do to get rid of them?
Distributive.
So the first step you're going to do is distributive property. Okay, that's step 1. They're easy steps. So let's see. Madison, do the distributive property for me on the right-hand side.
It'd be 4x minus 12.
4x minus 12. And what do I have on the left-hand side? What happens when I have a negative? Positive. Okay. So I'm getting closer. That right side looks kind of close to what I want, right? What about the left side?
It's not close.
Madison, what does it need to have happen?
You have to subtract the 2 from the...
Good. I need to move that 2 over. So that's your second step. Subtract your y1 from both sides.
Or add.
Okay? Or add. Subtract. Oh, that's true. How about move your y1 to the other side? Let's call it that. Okay? Wish there was a light eraser. Okay. Move y1 to the other side. Okay? So, Madison, what happens to our 2 and our negative 2?
Becomes negative 14.
Oh, sorry. What happens to our 2 and our negative 2 on the left-hand side?
You're going to subtract. It becomes negative 14.
They cancel off. Okay, now, what happens to our 2 and negative 12, Madison? There we go. So we got y equals 4x minus 14. Should we go back and check to see if that's the same that we got above?
It is. Always.
There it is.
It is?
Exactly the same. You are responsible for both slope-intercept form and point-slope form. Okay? Both of them, so actually point-slope form is a little bit shorter in steps, really, I guess. They're both 2 steps. So there's not one that's really more difficult than the other. It's what you see better and what you understand better. But you're responsible for both. Okay? All right.
Are we going to have another Google?
Probably.
Tonight?
I don't know. We'll noodle that. Okay. So, let's see. Okay, so this is a video that you have to go back when you're working on your homework to refer to.
Bless you.
And make sure you do, and make sure you can find the link, right, John?
Yes.
Okay.